Imagine that you wake in an ancient camp, and a human scream cuts through darkness. It is not a wolf, not branches, but a voice speaking to invisible shadows. You step toward the fire and see a man from your own tribe trembling. Yesterday, he sharpened stone quietly, but tonight he whispers the names of the dead. His wife cries beside him, while children hide behind adults and refuse to breathe. The elder says nothing, because nobody knows whether this is sickness, spirit, or curse. Today, someone like him might receive doctors, medicine, supervision, and a chance to return. But here, there is no hospital, no ambulance, and no calm professional voice nearby. There is only firelight, frightened faces, and a question that can decide his life. What should people do when a human mind stops obeying the rules of everyone? And here, everything becomes frightening, because ancient people did not separate mind from world. A person belonged to tribe, ancestors, spirits, earth, hunger, weather, and invisible forces around. When someone heard voices or saw shadows, it did not look like a symptom. It looked like a warning sign, and warning signs could not simply be ignored. In a small settlement, every person mattered more than any modern stranger can imagine. One missing hunter meant less meat, and one frightened mother meant children might starve. One screaming person at night could attract predators from beyond the dark tree line. One sudden hand-grabbing stone could destroy the trust holding the whole group together. So madness was never only private suffering. It could become danger for everyone nearby. But the strangest part begins later, because ancient people did not always abandon them. Sometimes they feared the broken mind, but sometimes they believed it touched sacred places. A woman speaking like a dead relative could seem like a messenger from beyond. A young man convulsing in dust could appear filled with an unnamed hidden power. To modern eyes, these moments suggest illness. To them, they could mean powerful spirits. That made the suffering person both terrifying and strangely important to the whole community. The first reaction was often not treatment, but discovering who was speaking through him. Elders gathered close, asking where he walked, what he ate, and who heard him. Relatives searched memories carefully, because every strange change needed a reason in that world. If a child became sick, perhaps a spirit had grown angry with the family. If a hunter changed overnight, perhaps he had broken some invisible forbidden rule before. If a woman stared silently, perhaps the shadows had reached inside her hidden soul. Now imagine the worst possible moment when quiet whispering suddenly turns into real danger. He might attack family, strike himself, walk into forests, or refuse every piece of food. He might terrify children so deeply that nobody in the camp sleeps safely anymore. Then the tribe had to choose between compassion for one and survival for all. Modern life teaches us each person is individual, protected by rights and systems today. But ancient life made each person part of the group, either useful or dangerous. If you threatened the group could slowly stop protecting you completely forever. That was the brutal survival logic of hunger, winter, darkness, and sharp animal teeth. Not because ancient people were monsters, but because the world offered no soft margins. Hunger never waited for understanding, and predators never cared why someone screamed at night. Ancient communities could respond in several ways, and the gentlest was family care nearby. Relatives fed him, watched him, hid sharp tools, and kept him from wandering alone. This was not modern medicine. It was exhausted love without instructions or any guarantees. A mother might sit beside a grown son who no longer recognized her face. A wife might hold the hand of someone terrified by his own thoughts inside. A brother might sleep at the doorway, guarding him from the forest darkness outside. In that quiet labor, ancient care existed, simple, heavy, and almost invisible to others. But this is only half the story, because fear often demanded much stronger answers. When family failed, someone came who claimed to speak with the unseen world directly. A shaman, priest, healer, or exorcist entered the circle and gave chaos meaning again. He might burn herbs, chant, beat drums, or place amulets near the shaking body. To us, it may look strange, but to them, ritual created real fragile control. It told the tribe they were not helplessly watching a person fall apart completely. They were doing something, fighting back, pulling order into the place where fear entered. And this changed everything, because ancient treatments often treated the whole terrified community too. The children needed calm, the relatives needed meaning, and the elders needed clear order. Even if the person never recovered, ritual helped society survive its own rising panic. But then comes the part almost nobody talks about. Help could quietly become violence. If people believed possession lived inside him, they might bind his hands tightly together. They might beat, starve, frighten, or cleanse him through pain, calling it ancient protection. If they thought he brought disaster, the village could push him beyond the fires. Not for a crime, but because his suffering seemed contagious to fate itself darkly. Imagine him led into night, hands tied, hearing relatives behind him crying softly nearby. Ahead waits forest, cold and darkness, while he cannot understand their final rejection alone. That may be one of ancient life's most terrifying punishments, belonging suddenly ending. But the real danger was not where you think. It was fear itself around. Fear makes sickness look like guilt and makes frightened people search desperately for blame. If minds can break without reason, then anyone can become the next one inside. The hunter, the mother, the child, even you could disappear inside yourself completely one day. But if spirits caused it, then rituals, offerings, and culprits could restore order again. Ancient people were protecting themselves from madness and from the mind's terrifying fragility. And this is where ancient humans start looking like us. Despite all our knowledge, we still step back when someone near us speaks strangely or loses control suddenly. We still whisper, fear, and call suffering dangerous before trying to understand private pain. Modern life gives us better words, but ancient fear remains buried inside us everywhere. Slowly, some people noticed strange behavior could come from body, fever, trauma, and grief. A head wound could change a hunter. Sleeplessness could make visions feel real too. A mother losing a child might fall silent because pain broke something inside her. Maybe madness did not always come from outside. Maybe it began within humans quietly. But the ending is darker than it first seems, because fear did not disappear. People could offer herbs and prayers, bring food, yet keep children far away carefully. But civilization truly begins when frightened people still refuse to abandon the weakest by fire. If you want, the next story reveals another ancient thing still living inside us.